Aliens vs Predator is probably the most underrated game I have ever played. I feel though as if people didn't really give it the benefit of the doubt despite its shortcomings and known problems. You've got one side that loves the game, and then another that couldn't give two shits about it. This is why it's always awkward bringing it up, because you never know how someone's gonna react. And though I may not agree with those who feel negatively toward this game, I'd be lying if I said there weren't any problems with it. But I still truly believe that this game has a lot to offer. My hope is that I can help you find a place in your cold, twisted heart to give this game a second chance and just enjoy how sick this game really is. The main complaint that I hear about this game is that the campaign is too short and the multiplayer is very unbalanced. And while I've had so many great memories pouring hours into the multiplayer, I can't really deny the fact that the campaign was way too short and that the multiplayer was a laggy piece of shit half the time. I mean, don't get me wrong, that multiplayer was fun, but it was also a clusterfuck of bad spawns, terrible connection, and the ridiculously OP group of Marines. I mean, I genuinely feel fear from the Marines when I'm a Predator or alien, even if I have a full team, and that's not normal. That probably just has to do with the fact that I'm not playing on Xbox anymore and I'm playing on PC. But regardless, there are some serious balancing issues. But we'll talk more about that later. Contrary to popular opinion, I actually like this campaign. I mean, it wasn't bad, it wasn't amazing, but it was still better than Infinite Warfare. I'm not gonna lie, there are only a few games that I really care about the campaign, but Aliens vs Predator is one of those games you just gotta play. Because it's such a unique genre, there aren't many games out there like it, so you just have to give it a try. Also, this game is based off a movie, why would you not? So before we take a trip down memory lane, I'm just gonna give you a quick rundown of what happens, you know, just to kind of refresh your memory. So without further ado, let's jump right into it.
What are you doing? You were supposed to turn.
You didn't say turn.
Now that's how the get out challenge work. You were supposed to hurry up and turn. What?
Well, why didn't you say that?
Because
you just said run.
No, but you get out. Just get out.
All right, so I'm not gonna do it again.
No, ain't no more again. Ain't no more again.
So shot.
My phone broke.
Hey.
So starting off with the aliens, we begin our story inside of a Weyland-Yutani Research Center, where we can see two test subjects screaming in pain as aliens try to break out of their chest. So Dumb and Dumber decide to check it out. I guess they never took the time to consider the fact that it was probably still alive in the host body. They tried to escape, but then they died. Instead of killing the alien, Weyland decides to keep him alive. The alien gets branded, then starts to go through the maturing process. You are then set free to start learning the controls and getting the hang of learning how to kill. Then the power suddenly goes out due to Weyland opening the doors to an ancient predator pyramid. Specimen 6 gets her revenge on the evil doctors. She breaks out and sets her friends free. You then fight off all the humans with the guns, then set the queen free. After that, all the humans are dead and the Xenos are free to roam the colony. After the aliens escaped, they created a hive in the refinery. Marines were then sent to the planet to wipe out the bugs. A group of them found their way into the refinery and were attacked by the Xenos. 6 shows up to kill the Marines and harvest the civilians to repopulate the area with xenomorphs. After leaving the refinery, 6 is faced with more Marines throughout the jungle, picking them off one by one. 6 then reaches a gateway facility occupied by more Marines and frightened civilians. After trying to harvest and kill the humans, 6 walks into a trap set up by the Marines. She outsmarts them and puts them out of their misery. On her arrival at the ruins, she is met with creepy looking androids that take forever to kill. Of course, they are wiped out and 6 proceeds to carry on, till she stumbles upon an ancient predator fighting arena. She fights both predators off at the same time. After killing both of them, she is faced with the wolf predator from AVPR. Just before she almost dies, she stabs the predator and harvests it, eventually creating the iconic beast, the Pred Alien. On the planet BG-386, Carl Wayland, as I mentioned before, sets off a huge electromagnetic pulse wave that knocks out all the power in the research facility, releasing all captured Xenos, including the Queen. These aliens, of course, start a hive in the refinery, as we went over before. On some random planet where I would never want to live on, Dark, which is the predator we get to play as, is being trained to be a sufficient hunter. After learning how to kill and survive, he and several other predators that overseed his training are dispatched to investigate a distress signal sent by a Youngblood. It was sent from the same planet Wayland decided to open the doors to the predator pyramid. On the way there, I guess, some big ass predator ship destroys a spaceship full of Colonial Marines. Dark is then sent to BG-386 to investigate the distress signal. Obviously, the second that he gets there, bodies start dropping like flies. Along his way throughout the jungle, he finds a dead Youngblood and sets off his time wrist bomb thingy. He finds a human with the authorization to enter a specific building and rips his head off to use it for facial recognition. Dark continues to fight more aliens and Marines. As he continues his way throughout the jungle, he finds another dead Youngblood. Dark takes the Predator's proximity mines and activates its self-destruct mode. Sometime later, he ends up at the refinery and sees eye to eye with the Pred alien. Dark ventures through the refinery and kills as many Marines as he can. Yada yada yada, he kills aliens, you get the picture. He ends up finding a dead Queen alien that actually gets killed by the Marine you get to play as. Dark finds another dead Youngblood and swipes his handy dandy disc blade. Of course, right after setting the self-destruct. Dark fights his way out of the shithole and finds himself in an ancient predator chamber. Of course, he has to keep proving himself by killing more and more aliens just to make it seem like the campaign's longer than it actually is. He unlocks something and finds some badass predator mask. He then finds himself watching VR porn and then fighting off a few more aliens. Dark goes toe to toe with the Praetorian as he gets locked in an arena with the Xenos. He wipes the floor with them and receives a dope ass spear. He then makes it to a Weyland-Yutani facility and starts killing some androids. He breaks in, kills people and finds something important, hops on an elevator and watches more VR porn. He slays more aliens and finds a predator mummy. Dark places the wrist gauntlet he previously acquired into the mummy cast or whatever and sets it into self-destruct. In the best timing imaginable, the Pred alien shows up just as Dark is trying to flee. As the floor is quickly being swallowed by lava, you have to find new ground to fight the beast. Dark kills it with its trusty smart disc and drags it to the top of the building. He tosses that shit over and pimps Walk back into his ship. Dark's story ends with him setting a new destination to continue his journey as a leader. Finally, the Marine's story kicks off with an exploration mission into the planet BG-386 that would eventually lead to a fascinating discovery of an ancient predator pyramid. Wayland's company built a facility around the pyramid so they could study it. Mr. Wayland tries to open the doors to the pyramid, but is blasted by a huge electromagnetic pulse wave set off by the doors being opened. This EMP knocks out all the power in the facility, releasing all captured Xenos and sends a signal to the predators that someone or something is trying to break in. After what happened on BG-386, a distress signal was sent to the Marines in hopes that they'd be able to stop the xenomorphs from spreading. While the Colonial Marine ship was in orbit of BG-386, a Predator ship, as I mentioned before, shows up and shoots a big ass laser through the Colonial Marine starship known as the Marlowe. Because they know what's best for them, the Marines try to land on BG-386. We are then introduced to the character we get to play as, the Rookie. On the way to the planet, Rookie is hit on the head by like a toaster or something and is knocked unconscious. When they land, Rookie is helped carried into the refinery by some of his Marine buddies. Then,
Got something. Movement right on top of us. Contact!
the Marines were attacked by the xenomorphs, and luckily Rookie was not one of them. He was resting far away from them, but now the Marines have to retreat, which means that Rookie is all on his own. Finally, he wakes up and is forced to make his way back to find his Marine buddies. Fortunately, he has the help of his fellow Marine Tequila to help guide him back to where, using like a walkie-talkie or something. And of course, all the power is knocked out, so he's walking in complete pitch black. He finds himself in some nightclub where they've got Cortana showing a new side to herself. The place is a complete mess and it's turned into an alien hive where you're left to fight off a few waves of aliens. He goes through several levels of the building, tries to help out a few Marines, but they all die. He tries to take an elevator in one of the scariest missions I have ever played in this game, while he's being swarmed with aliens that you have to kill off fast enough just to make it between the doors and then you're free. As he's making his way through the sewers, he gets snatched up by some alien and gets dragged in attempts to take him to their hive. He kills the alien and moves on. He finds his way in a control room where he finds some dirt on Mr. Wayland and sees a video of him opening the doors to the Predator Pyramid. He tries to make his way out of the refinery. While exploring the alien hive, he finds Major Van, or at least what was left of him. Just when this man's about to make his way out, he runs into an alien queen. This is easily the most annoying mission I've played throughout this entire story mode, but I'll get into that later. He destroys a giant barrel which sets off a fire and gets the fuck out of there. Rookie ventures on into the jungle and is immediately stalked by a predator. A rescue ship shows up, but the predator shoots his plasma cannon at it and they're forced to land somewhere else. He receives a radio signal by a girl named Katia offering her assistance. Considering where he is, I think he could use all the help he could get. Predator continues to stalk him. Rookie is then faced with armed synthetics, which after wasting quite the amount of ammo, he finally manages to kill. Finally meets up with some other Marines, but they slowly are picked off and he's one of the last ones. He gets tossed into an arena by a predator and has to fight him off. He kills it and moves on. He finally manages to find Tequila strung up in some alien hive. Unfortunately, she has an alien inside of her. Luckily though, with the help of Katia, they would be able to remove the parasite, but they could not do it on that planet given the fact that they don't have enough supplies. The goal would be for Rookie to access Wayland's executive data pad in hopes that it could bring down a dropship to get off the planet. He puts Tequila into hypersleep and moves on. On his way back, he fights off a huge alien known as the Praetorian, which is basically like a queen alien in its early development. Finally kills it, hops on an elevator and ends up near the front doors of the Predator Pyramid. He fights off 2 more Praetorians and a horde of aliens, finally making it into the pyramid just before Wayland comes out of nowhere and humiliates him. Just before Rookie is executed, the roof starts to collapse and Rookie fights back. Finally manages to get into a scuffle with Wayland, only to find out this guy is just an android. Rookie shoots him in the head and that white shit comes out of his face and then falls in the lava. Rookie and Katia get on the dropship and get the hell out of there. And the ending still confuses me. Out of the 3 story modes, the alien was my favorite. Why, you may ask? Because the aliens are my favorite species, but also because that ending was awesome. This went from some ordinary test subject to a badass queen alien after proving that she could not be contained. I think the reason why I like it so much is because it reminds me a lot of the original AVP movie mixed in with a little bit of AVPR. Though it was cool the way they tried to tie in the campaigns together, it just felt empty. After finishing each campaign and looking back on it, it kind of just felt rushed and boring, but I wouldn't call myself an avid campaign goer. I just like to play multiplayer and that's all I really cared about. But since time has passed, I became more interested in learning what it was about. Something important to note is that when it comes to storytelling, whether you're talking about a book, a movie, or a television series, I don't know shit about anything. If it's a series I really care about, I'll have a little bit more criticism. But other than that, I look at things from a very simple point of view. It all just depends on what we're talking about. So instead of sitting here wasting time trying to sound sophisticated talking about something I don't know anything about, I'll just tell you what I liked about the campaign and didn't like about it. The AI were OP. I wasn't really going to mention this because I'd figure facing synthetics would be much harder than facing Marines. But the fact that I was playing on normal difficulty and it made me that upset, I just feel like it'd be weird if I left it out. As soon as you're within 10 feet of them, they already know where you are. Trying to bomb rush them didn't work, so I tried to wait them out. You would think after a few minutes they'd keep moving forward, but I was wrong. They take forever to kill. One heavy hit and a grab won't solve your problems. So just make it easy. You have to hit them with at least 2 if you're lucky enough, then finish them off. And if you're gonna sneak up on them, you better be fast. The campaign is too short. Why I wish it was a bit longer, I can kinda maybe understand why it was too short, considering the fact that you get to play as 3 different species. But it's not just about the fact that it was short, It's about the fact that it felt short. A lackluster story that throws in hordes of enemies just to make it feel longer. The complete and utter emptiness you feel after completing a mission. You spend 30 minutes fighting wave after wave of enemies with no reward or any sense of satisfaction. The guns don't feel solid thanks to the bugginess of the Xenos. My shots always feel like they're flying all over the place. Fortunately though, there are a few guns like the shotgun and the sniper that sort of make up for that. And oh my, the radar is just AIDS.
What the fuck is that?
Your only friend throughout the entire Marine campaign is some piece of garbage that flies left, right, up and down randomly without giving you a fucking clue where you're supposed to go. It's just ridiculous. On a side note, is this not the creepiest shit you've ever seen? Also, I get the fact that Tequila has a chest burster inside of her and everything, but why do you have to wait so long for her to catch up? I already killed all the enemies, which, cough cough, I did all the work. I mean, you know you're taking your sweet time when your character is wiping off the dust off his gun. And finally, this piece of shit mission. The objective is to kill the queen by lighting her on fire. You are then tasked with destroying the eggs, blowing up the canisters, and turning on the furnace. And of course, since it's kind of like a boss mission, you're gonna need some aliens in there to fight off. But I didn't think there'd be this fucking many. Maybe it's just me and I suck at this game, but it is absolutely ludicrous how difficult it is to fend off the aliens. The worst part is you spend so much time staying alive to get bombarded by facehuggers and Xenos, and then you have to start all over again. The strategy I found to somewhat work was to basically run back and forth across the area. If you can outrun them just by a bit, you might be able to get the drop on them. But sometimes that doesn't even work. I went back to the footage of this mission to find a certain clip. Now, a lot of this has to do with the fact that when I was playing the mission, I didn't really know what the objective was for a while, but this mission alone took up nearly 50 minutes. And when I went through to watch why that was, it was just because there were so many fucking aliens that I kept dying. I feel bad for myself watching this again. There is no chance of survival. And again, that's just on normal difficulty. In terms of what I didn't like, that's all I could think of off the top of my head. Now on to what I did like. The atmosphere. No matter what you say about this game, you can't knock the absolute immersiveness this game brings to the table. The way it really pulls you in and intensifies the horror that these monsters create. From the bright and jungly ruins to the dark and chilling shadows of the refinery, this game still holds to this day. I wasn't even playing on all high settings. The look of the weapons and animations have a very satisfactory feeling towards them. The lighting, textures, and sounds all make it feel as if you are truly in this sci-fi universe. This game is scary. Now regularly, I do my best to avoid playing scary games, but when you're talking about an Alien vs Predator game, you gotta turn it up a notch. I don't want to feel like I'm playing Black Ops 4 or any other totally non-immersive game. I want to be on my toes, watching my back, making me understand that despite all the laggy bullshit, I have consequences to my actions. I know you could say this about a lot of other games, but this is a horror shooter. Every hunch that you get when you think that someone or something is around the corner, but your radar said otherwise, is on you. And I know, it's not Dead Space, alright? But even on normal difficulty, this game can annoy the shit out of you. In the beginning, when I was playing the Marine campaign, I was pretty pissed off by the fact that not every alien that jumped out of nowhere or came running towards me in plain sight was picked up by the radar. It took me some time to realize that this wasn't really a problem and that I was really glad that they implemented this into the game. The radar is supposed to help guide you should you need a sense of direction. It's not supposed to babysit you and tell you exactly where the enemy is coming from, because that would defeat the purpose. Therefore, not being challenging and taking the scary element out of the game. As much as I complain about the repetitiveness of fighting hordes of aliens, never did I say they didn't scare the shit out of me. Quick side note, by the way, I have nothing wrong with the fact that there are hordes of aliens in the game, because that's quite alien-esque. It can just get super dull after a few missions. I like the fact that each species has their own story. Though I wasn't really satisfied with the missions themselves, it's really cool to see each character's development throughout their own journey. How they all went from being initiates to becoming leaders after showing what they're capable of. You have Rookie, an intermediate soldier sent on a mission to kill the xenomorphs. Dark, who's a beginning hunter investigating the murder of a young blood on BG-386. And Six, an alien that escaped confinement and sets out to repopulate the planet with the xenomorphs. The interesting part is that in some way, shape, or form, they all kind of cross paths with each other. Though you don't really see or run into each other, you can sort of just tell due to the aftermath of each campaign. Probably my most favorite part of the campaign is that it reminds me of the movies, and not just the AVP movies alone, but the Alien and Predator franchises themselves. The way you're jumping through the forest tree to tree really reminds me of the original Predator movie. And the way you shoot the aliens when they jump out of nowhere in the refinery, it just really makes it feel like I'm in this big movie, and the music just amplifies those nostalgic vibes. Again, this is 2019 and it still holds up. And finally, I love when the AI start fighting each other because it's just hilarious. The first thing I want to say right off the bat is that trying to find a match in this game can be extremely time consuming. It feels almost as if no one plays this game.
50,000 people used to live here. Now it's a ghost town.
A few moments later.
But just when I think all hope is lost. What's that? A populated server. Let me join real quick. Oh, wait. Where'd everybody go? I mean, with the game this old, it's no surprise that most of its population is non-existent, but it can kind of get annoying when you join a server full of people and everybody just one by one starts to leave. And I haven't been a part of this community long enough to know when people usually play, so I'm up at all strange hours of the night just trying to find a few people to play a freaking match with.
I said, hold up, wait a minute.
Haha, you see what I did there, YouTube? I said frick instead of fuck. You see, we're keeping it ad friendly over here on the CoolCurry YouTube channel, so you don't have to worry about any of that controversial shit.
Why am I still getting hate?
So for this portion of the video, I'll be discussing a wide range of topics and just giving you my honest opinion.
Cause then I start to taste them. I say, and then
The state of Aliens vs. Predator in 2019, which to be honest is no different than what I said earlier, plus just what you would expect from a game that came out in 2010. Although, given the fact that nobody plays this game anymore, it changes the dynamic up by a crazy amount. Not even by just trying to learn the game and get better, but also when trying to critique it. I mean, me just trying to get footage for this video was a pain in the ass. It's not like COD or Rainbow Six or For Honor. You can't just jump into a match any time of the day with a lobby full of people. People who consistently come back to these games because they love them, because they have fun, because they appreciate them. They appreciate them because they're consistently updated and improved upon, which makes it feel like this community is not dead and it has a future. The reason why I brought up For Honor and Rainbow Six is because a while after their launch, both games were considerably dead, but after a long road to redemption, Ubisoft pulled through and made them what they are today. And arguably, you could say that about the MCC, but I'm still a bit iffy on that one. But all of which Aliens vs. Predator lacks. And I think it's safe to say that it's okay. And just to make sure we're on the same page here, yes, this game is dead, and I know that. But obviously, the reason why I'm still doing this video is because I think it's still worth playing and you can have a lot of fun on it. So without the people, the game is nothing. And one thing I just gotta say I love about YouTube is that it's crazy how much inspiration can be drawn from one video about a guy talking or playing a game. Like, me watching a video of someone playing Halo can make me go want to play Halo. Me watching a video of someone playing Arma or DayZ can make me go want to play a survival game. And just by me watching that one video, the population of that game goes up just by a bit. So if FaZe Rain made a video of him playing MW2, the population of MW2 would go up as you would imagine. Now if FaZe Rain played this game in hopes that he wouldn't be held at gunsight, the population would go up by a lot. Now I'm not talking crazy numbers, but it's not a game that you see people play every here and then. So you definitely see a lot of people on the game. And And that's one of the beauties of making this video, because who knows what kind of inspiration someone will take from it. And one of my biggest hopes is that maybe someone watching out there, in one way or another, can maybe find a way to get the ball rolling on perhaps a sequel or a reboot to this game. Though it's not really likely at all. This is the internet and anything can happen. Anyways, back to what I was originally saying. Because there aren't a lot of people playing this game, it's going to be harder for me to get familiar with it, which is why there's a huge skill gap. So now that we got that out of the way, we can actually discuss how the game runs. So let's start off with the combat system. The fighting in this game is not what you would expect from an Aliens vs Predator game. A combat system that punishes you for your mistakes, but that can also give you a chance at redemption. If you've ever played the game Chivalry, then you could kind of get an understanding of how this game works. For the most part, it's pretty basic. You have a light attack and a heavy attack, as well as the ability to block and counter incoming attacks. Light attacks are good, but heavies are what you're going to want to utilize. The end goal is just to get them weak enough to either grab them or make them vulnerable enough to let down their arms and kill them. Grabs are the most important ones though, because they give you instant guaranteed kills. Seems simple enough, but when all the bullshit starts piling up, it's gonna get very frustrating. Weapons and abilities. So for the aliens, you get the ability to see through the walls, climb walls, and make a hissing noise to lure people and kill them. And playing as the predators, you get the ability to cycle through visions, turn invisible, leap far distances, heal yourself, and have access to several different power weapons across the map, such as the spear, smart disc, proximity mines, and plasma cannon. Although the plasma cannon and proximity mines both require a recharge in energy in order to continuously use them. And finally, for the Marines, just as you would expect, you have access to several different weapons, including the assault rifle, pistol, shotgun, flamethrower, DMR/sniper rifle, and smart gun. Everything except the assault rifle and pistol are power weapons you have to pick up around the map. You can also pick up ammo for your grenade launcher that's attached to your assault rifle, and stim packs to heal yourself. Balancing. You will never find a fair, balanced match in Aliens vs Predator in 2019. It just does not exist. Now, I can go on and on about which weapons are OP and which ones are not, but I honestly don't give a fuck. The fact of the matter is, there are only two species that are actually worth playing as: the Predators and the Marines. There is absolutely no reason to play as the aliens. It's absolutely useless. Now maybe, just maybe, if you can sneak up on someone and grab them, that may be of use if you just want to play as the aliens and don't really want to get kills. But at that point, are you even having fun? Like, what's the point of playing the game? The only time you'll ever really get kills is if you're just playing against bad players or new players, but that's about it. Like, there's no point of playing as the aliens, so I don't know why anybody would. And that sucks, because the aliens are my favorite species. The Marines are actually not useless, but weak if you're just by yourself. But if the Marines had a solid team and held down corners, they would dominate. Now, the big argument that I see people have when talking about balancing and multiplayer is that a lot of people, including me, think that the Predators are way too powerful, and that it's just not fun getting spammed by a smart disc. And I see quite a few people getting bothered over that argument and saying that you're just not good enough. They say the Predator is the real challenge and that it's supposed to make you better. And for the most part, this game requires a lot of practice for you to get the hang of things, and I get that. Believe me, but it is utter horseshit to believe that the Predators are not at all OP. What the fuck is the point of playing the game only to get plasma castered every 3 seconds? And why do they get a charge up for their heavy attack? Sure, the alien gets it, but that's only if the enemy's right in front of them. The Predator can just spam that shit as much as they want and hit you from like 10 yards away. So by the time you're close enough to a Predator to use your heavy attack, they've already activated theirs. So you're dead before you even get a chance to attack them. It's ludicrous. And then I feel bad because there's only one Marine. So you join the Marines to try to help them, and then you just get ass fucked. Hoping someone will join the Marine side and that we'll get a balanced match, but it's rare for that ever to happen. And then you realize there's like one alien in the match and they're just getting destroyed and you're just watching it happen. You're like, why? Like, do you enjoy doing this? Is this fun to you? All you have to do to be successful in this game is just be a Predator, spawn in, pick up a weapon, and just use it. That's it. You just spam your smart disc. That's all you have to do. That's it. No effort. I mean, I'm not even good at the game, and that's all it takes to get a kill, so. Lag. This game is a laggy, buggy piece of shit. That is not an opinion, that is a fact. The lag in this game is so horrendous, even the elitists cannot deny its existence. It's not even just connection lag, it's the lag within the fucking game itself. It's just AIDS, man. It's a clusterfuck. How do you have fun with this? Look at this fucking vomit on my screen right now. The only other game I've seen that's ugly as this is Ark. And no, I don't mean the visuals and aesthetics, but the inexcusable bugginess and clunkiness of this piece of shit game. And I'm not trying to hate or discourage you from playing it. That's the very opposite. I think you can have a lot of fun. We just need more players on. Think of it like Halo 3, where the battle rifle is so busted you can barely land a shot on anybody, but the game's still fun. It's a game I'll always come back to and have a good time. Even if I get mad or rage quit.
How the fuck?
There's always the motivation to keep playing because of running into the same people. The same people that always piss you off and get ridiculous kills on you. As far as the maps go, I only really liked Refinery. The other ones, yeah, no. I take that back. Temple was actually pretty cool, but as for the rest of them, they were pretty garbage. A lot of people hate the fact that you could use grabs in the game. I just wish they found a different way to use it in multiplayer because sometimes the trains were just so AIDS. But enough talking about all the shit I didn't like in the game, and let's talk about the stuff I did like. For starters, the controls. Despite all the laggy bullshit in the game, in terms of movement, the game feels solid. Each species runs at their own pace, but that kind of goes without saying because it's an Alien vs Predator game. You don't run slow enough to where it irritates you, but you also don't run so fast it makes you feel like you're floating around the map. This very balance within the game makes the movement feel perfect. It's not too much and it's not too little. Probably my favorite weapon for the Predators is the spear because it actually takes skill to use it. Unlike the smart disc or whatever bullshit weapon you can pick up around the map, it actually feels rewarding to get a kill. At first, it used to bother me that I was so bad at it and I couldn't get a kill, but after hours of practicing, I actually got pretty good at it. Once I got familiar getting kills up close, I tried to distance myself from the enemy players to kind of challenge myself and improve my aim from a further distance. This just adds on to that replayability factor and always makes you want to come back and play this game. The one interesting thing about this game is that it shines a light on how impatient I can be. And what I mean by that is that when someone is guarding, I always feel tempted to strike even though I shouldn't. And in doing so, I pay the consequences. By implementing something like that into the game, it's going to make you question every time you make a move. And that is going to make you a better player. Predator sprinting is awesome. I love the noise it makes and the way it makes you feel. Makes me feel like I'm on a hunt, like I'm ready to kill. The only thing though is that when trying to jump or setting a waypoint to jump, it's kind of annoying how it restricts you from placing it in a certain area, especially when someone's chasing after you because you don't have enough time to get away. But regardless of that, the leaping is awesome. For the Marines, it's nothing too special, but it works. Quick side note, the spawns are trash. Something that you wouldn't think that makes that big of a difference, but really does, is wearing headphones while playing this game. I don't know what it is, but it just enhances everything. I mean, I know that's the purpose of it. You can hear footsteps, everything's a lot more clear, but just the weight of your weapons, the way you run, it just makes everything better and it makes you play better. If I were to play on my speakers, having the volume up, it's not the same experience. I don't play as good. I know you can say that about any game in existence, but for some reason, it's so refreshing. Probably one of my favorite things about the multiplayer is that you can actually have different types of skins. All you have to do is just level up throughout the game and you can unlock them. And they're not just some random generic skins, some of them are actually from the movies. Like my personal favorite is the Hunter Predator from AVP 1. They also have the Wolf Predator from AVP Requiem. And then just some I don't think I've ever seen before in a movie or whatnot. Maybe it was in a comic, but it's cool that it's there. It gives the players options to play the game how they want. And who cares about not being able to see yourself? It's about how you imagine you can see yourself. Another thing that I liked in this game are the leaderboards. Although I wish it showed your death count or even a few more stats would have been nice, but it's always funny looking at the crazy numbers on the screen, so you know, the numbers that you'll never achieve. So there's that. And lastly, the best thing about playing Aliens vs Predator multiplayer are the endless memories of actually playing the game, some of which I will remember for the rest of my life. It's essentially like the sword battles I used to have on Halo 3 with my friends. I'll never forget them. And a lot of it is just the combination of bullshit and your friends trash talking. And that's the best part. If most of you are in the dark right now, I'll use Counter-Strike as an example. It's basically like when you're the last guy on your team and you clutch it. The satisfaction and reward from you clutching it is going to make you want to keep playing. The feeling of this game's always a good time and I'll always remember this. Now that's not exactly the same thing, but it's just the feeling you get. And that's 100% what it's like when I win a battle. I just feel unstoppable. If there was one reason I would have to give you in order to give this game a try, it would simply be because you get to play as the monster. Not because there are cool looking weapons in the game, not because it gives you a nostalgic feeling, or because the game's just based off of a movie, but because it's a game where people don't have power. No one has control. No one has order. It's a game that doesn't fall under any category. Nor does it appeal to the average consumer. A game where no one can hear your screams. And what Aliens vs Predator does at its core is set the tone for a hunt or hunted type of atmosphere. The ones that seemed weak become dominant. The ones that got too comfortable pay the price. You see, what fascinates me about this game is how paranoid it can make you feel even if you're on top of the food chain. And the crazy part is, you get that feeling with each species. You always feel like you're on your toes, no matter how good you're doing. Whether it's the map messing with your eyes, the sketchy noises you hear behind you, or the fear of someone out to get you, Aliens vs Predator finds a way to really pull you into the game. To immersify you in this dark and fucked up world. You know that feeling when you start walking down into your basement and notice how dark and quiet it is? And on the way back up, you run faster than the speed of light? Yeah, that's essentially the feeling you get when playing this game. It's just this endless fear that someone's behind you and you have to keep running. The sheer anxiety you get when hearing someone's footsteps. And something this game does a really good job at, it stimulates horror when there doesn't need to be, therefore bringing you into this universe and making you feel like you're actually there. But the best thing this game does is turning you into something else, something non-human, something that's not relatable, and which causes fear, a monster. Every good horror needs its monster, and what this game allows you to do is become one. And oh boy, is it a lot of fun. Stalking people, messing with their minds, and executing them. The foundation of what makes this game totally badass. I don't mean to sound like a psychopath, but there's nothing more satisfying than getting an execution in this game. The way it looks so realistic, looks so vicious and brutal. Sometimes you even feel empathy for the other player. The many different variants for each species. And the main reason for that is because it feels rewarding after trying so hard to get that kill. It gives you a sense of satisfaction while maintaining that feeling of being a monster. But I think one of the most important things to pay attention to when playing as the monster is the change in perspective. If you look at any other horror shooters, you're usually the one shooting at the undead. It's pretty unlikely that you would end up becoming the monster, but in this game you do. Instead of being a hero and killing the common enemy, you become the villain. You see how everybody's coordinated and how they'll work together just to take you down. You see, instead of making you feel like you're on a team and fighting for a cause, this game makes you feel like an outcast. Sure, you can play Species Team Deathmatch, but it doesn't stop that feeling from crawling back into your head, which I think perfectly embodies that monstrous feeling. It gives you fuel. Every time someone kills you, it gives you motivation to get revenge. Be strategic, outthink them, make them feel trapped and separated from their group. You want them to know that you're out for blood. Also, if you're not too comfortable with the controls, try using a controller. This is why I love this game so much, because it gives you a chance to experience something that you've never really played in another game. I'm sure there are other games that let you play as the monster. I mean, I played Dead Space 2, the multiplayer was pretty cool. It kind of reminded me of this game. But from what I've seen, nothing comes close to Aliens vs Predator. And I think that's really saying something. Whether it's the horror, executions, or a choice in preferred species that got you interested in this game, I think you can agree this game's worth giving a shot. So if you're not convinced yet that this game's worth giving your time of day, then maybe this game's not really for you. And that's okay. Although I would highly recommend at least giving it a try. In the end, Aliens vs Predator may not have had the best campaign or the most balanced multiplayer experience, but what it did have was the ability to use your imagination, and that is what's important. Thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, please hit that like button and subscribe. Share this video with any other AVP fans you know. Last but not least, comment down below what you thought about the video. Did you agree or disagree with anything I said? Would you consider giving Aliens vs Predator a second chance? Also, if you like these types of videos, what games would you like to see me talk about? I want to hear what you gotta say. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day.